Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Isaac Plays Visual Novels, even though he can barely read at any given moment is in his entire life. So I decided that why not? Let's play Our Life because I love this game. It's a great game. I haven't finished it yet, but because my save file got deleted when I transferred my files over to my new computer. So yeah, that happened. During the first bit and a half, my mic quality is really bad. Like, worse than normal. So, how about we just skip over that fact? And, okay, so the clip that you're about to see is I finished making the character, and there's a little context that I'm leaving out. So, our protagonist is named Jamie, and I'm thinking that he is going to grow up and discover that they use they, them, he, him pronouns. But for now, because he's a child, I am thinking that they are only going to use he, him pronouns for now. So that's kind of what I'm going for in this playthrough because the minute you start your character, the pronouns are already they. So I'm like, why not? Let's just grow up and discover that because I think it'll be like a fun storyline to give to our protagonist, Jamie Math, because I didn't know what last name to give him, so I kind of gave up, and his name is Math. So, yeah, enjoy. I believe that's it. This is Jamie for step one. Summer in Sunset Bird was a special time of year. Your usually sleepy town began to bustle. It was a popular tourist destination, with people coming from all over to enjoy the beach, the weather, and the relaxation that came with both. The smell of the ocean, crisp and salty, hung in the air, bringing 3 whole months of schoolless vacation with it. During the summer, your moms didn't like you wandering too far outside of your neighborhood, so you knew the area pretty well. That included the people. Families came and went from Sunset Bird, but they mostly stayed and did what your mom called putting down roots. They built businesses, they got to know each other, and they definitely said hello to the nice young kids who waved when passing their stores. Going for a walk around town mostly meant that the familiar, friendly residents waved, or asked how your family was, or most often just said hello. You didn't really get why they always had to say hi. They saw you every day, but you nodded back at them anyway. You ended up saying hi to a lot of different people, since most of the tourists that came and went every summer were the same ones. You were too anxious to say hi back to most of the other residents that greeted you, but they all knew you well enough to expect that. One good in the middle. You enjoyed learning all about where they were visiting from and hoped to visit those places one day too. But today, there was a man sitting on the curb outside your house. He was sitting with his head in his hands, his whole body slumped over, and you wondered if he was even a real person, or a statue that had magically sprung up from the ground overnight. Whoever, or whatever he was, you had to see him before. You haven't seen him before, whoopsie. One thing about knowing everyone in Sunset Bird was the people who you didn't recognize really stood out. It was rare for tourists to venture into the residential district, as your moms called it. So for you, not knowing who a total stranger was set off a lot of red flags. Your moms had a talk with you and your big sister Lizzie about this kind of situation before. You hadn't exactly been listening at the time. You think it could be okay to talk to new people. They mentioned that some people aren't good to talk to, but other types of people can help you even if you don't know them. You remember that it's okay to run away if you feel uncomfortable. You don't have to worry about being polite then. Let's do middle one. Middle playthrough, let's go! You weren't sure about this man yet. Still, you felt a bit scared knowing that he was blocking the way to your front door. But you were pretty interested. You wanted to know more about what was going on. Whether he was nice or not, you didn't want to be bothered. He's... They're a child. So, of course, you'd be a little scared if some random stranger was just, at your front door. You slowed down, your mind racing for ideas on how to get past him unseen, but it was too late to escape. There was a split second where your eyes met and you took in a shaky breath, your eyes darting to the sky, pretending to stare at a bird who was hovering nearby. Oh god, I need a voice. Oh, I'm gonna sound dorky. Deal with it. Hey. His voice startled you. Maybe you jumped, but you still didn't look at him. The bird landed on top of a nearby gatepost, and its black feathers ruffled against the gentle breeze. Trying to keep your eyes on it as tough, on it was tough, especially when the man stood up and started to make his way towards you. Not wanting to seem too approachable, you folded your arms and stared. Still unsure about him, but willing to be friendly, you offered the stranger a smile. Your whole body was frozen in place as he approached. Uh, do you live around here? What's your name? You look up at you look the man up and down, taking in his tan skin and relaxed appearance. At least his clothes were relaxed. The way he was acting wasn't. He had sharks on his shorts and a stingray tattoo, and you wondered if he was obsessed with the ocean or something. While you made your assessment, he looked at you expectantly, waiting for an answer to his question. Yeah, I live here. I live right there. My name is Jamie. You continue to say nothing. I mean, I already said, yep, I live here. Why not just give him my name too? Great, nice to meet you, Jamie. He gave you a broad smile, relief settling on his face. Oh, that's a $20 bill. Right there. He reached into his pocket and pulled out a clean $20 bill. It crinkled in his hand as he held it up to you. Even more confused than before, you looked back at him. Well, could you do me a favor? No, I think I'm going to make that, our love interest voice. Can I turn him British? I'm turning him British. Nothing bad, sorry, let me start over. That was a really bad accent, wanna know what? We're sticking to it. He cleared his throat and stood up straighter. From where you were standing, it just made him look creepier. I have a son. His name is Cove. Who's about your age? Cove? That seems like a strange name for an actual living person to you. You chewed on the inside of your cheek. The guy was definitely obsessed with water. You thought that was pretty cool. You've never met anyone with that name. We moved in across the street, see? He gestured toward the house that had been empty for a year, his watch catching the late afternoon sunlight and reflecting off the walls. The generic for sale sign was finally gone. You must be Jamie Math, right? Oh shit. You must be Jamie Math, right? I met your mums earlier, and they told me you were 8, just like him, so I don't know what voice to give him. I'm not really feeling the British accent. He shook the $20 bill to bring it back to your attention, a hopeful smile tilting his lips at the corner. Can you Can you try to be friends with the boy? Just give it a chance. You can keep this. He's a good kid. You'll like him. But you've got to keep it a secret too, okay? It wouldn't be friendly to say his dad sent you. You eyed the man. You kind of felt sorry for Cove. Did other kids really get their parents to pay for their friendships? I feel sorry for Cove. This definitely wasn't the normal way kids made friends. You knew that. What'd you say? Want to make a deal? I hate that voice. You took the bill. You didn't want the money. You right away. You spun around and made a break for it. Stranger danger. No thanks, old man. You don't offer any explanation, you just focus on getting away. I think Jamie's smirky, but he isn't old, so I don't think Jamie would say that. I think Jamie would be like, oh god, guys, stranger danger. Warning the other kids. This guy's handing out money. Bad idea. Could be laced with something, I don't know. You turned on the spot and bolted down the street, ignoring his calls from behind you. Hey! Come back! I'm sorry if I scared you! I didn't know how else to ask! The soles of your shoes slapped against the concrete sidewalk. As you ran, heat from the sun warmed your feet. Step 1. First sight. Eventually his shouting faded into the distance. You let yourself slow down and try to catch your breath, wiping the sweat from your forehead with the back of your hand. The chirping of crickets in tall, dry grass echoed around you, and you lifted your head up to survey your surroundings. You'd ran right into the hills behind your house's backyard. From here, you could probably get back inside without seeing the guy again. There was a loose plank on the back of the fence, too small to fit through, but you could try waving to Lizzie for help. The fence was pretty high, but if you stood on the neighbor's shorter fence post first, you might be able to pull yourself over. You would be able to hide there until he left. Then you would go through the front door. I think that Jamie is very, very risk taker, so why not? Your moms wouldn't want you doing something like that, but it was an emergency. You took in a deep breath. You wanted to try to relax and couldn't. You weren't sure what, but something told you that you weren't alone, so you glanced around. There was a boy sitting at the top of the hill, almost completely hidden within the long grass and white flowers surrounding him. His head was buried in his knees, staring ahead by himself. For whatever reason, you probably just that he wasn't paying attention. He hadn't noticed you yet. You watched him a minute longer, feeling a little bit like like you found a deer in the wild. Though deers didn't have a sad frown, a pink cast, huge glasses, wavy eyebrows, green hair. Wavy eyebrows. But this new boy did. You weren't sure what else in the world had eyebrows like that, if there was anything. After a few more seconds, you took a step forward, then another, and then he glanced your way. His aquamarine eyes reflected the light of the moon. You stopped, raising a hand to acknowledge him and show you weren't scary. Hi! Hey, Space Cadet! Are you lost? Hey, Space Cadet! With a start, he jumped to his feet, his hands balling into fists at his sides. He didn't say anything, just stared at you in a strange way. He'd been crying. There were traces of tears on his cheeks, and his knees soaked to the hem of his shorts, and his eyes were still shining with a few more. You obviously caught him off guard. He was your age, but he didn't look familiar. Maybe he was the boy that weird new Aiden, maybe he's the boy that the weird Maybe he was the boy that the weird new neighbor had been talking about before you ran. The only way to actually know was to ask. Who are you? I've never seen you. What's your name anyway? You waited for him to say something. Nah. Who are you? I've never seen you. He sniffled a little, rubbing his ruddy cheeks before he answered. My name's Cove. I'm... You could see him hesitate, shifting his eyes to the side and then back to you again. My dad and me, we moved here. Your guess was confirmed. So, is this your hill? He gestured with his uninjured arm to the patch of grass surrounding you, his face falling at the prospect. I can leave if it is. Yup, you can't own a hill. You shook your head. While doing so, you also picked at a strain of lint off your leg. What a weird question to ask someone. Oh. He sat back down with a thump, resting his chin on his knees again. Curious about the strange new boy with the odd dad, you sat on the patch of grass next to him. The pure white flowers that covered this hill rocked back and forth gently as the stars twinkled above. The way they dotted the sky made them seem like flowers too. The night wind was cool as it traveled over the ocean and up the hill, chasing away the heat from the afternoon sun. Why are you here? Why are you here? A quiet hiccup escaped Cove as soon as you asked the question. Almost like they'd never stopped. His tears started up again with a vengeance. My parents, they don't want to live together with me anymore. The tears fell fast and heavy over his flushed cheeks, sticking in his dark lashes. My mom made my dad leave, and he took me with him, and now we have a house here, and I don't want to go home. The outburst took you off guard. By the time he was done wailing, Cove's chest was heavy with exhaustion. He sniffled and removed his glasses, wiping his eyes with the back of his hand before he put them back on again. I hate this place. I want my real life back. I want my mom. I'm sorry. You like it here. You'll like it here. You just have to get used to it. Stop crying. I'm gonna be optimistic. He slipped his hands underneath his glasses and pressed his fingers against his eyelids. Cove wound himself up again for another long crying fit. Sunset Bird was a nice place to live. It had a beach, playgrounds, a good school. At least you thought so. But from way off in the distance, you heard your parents. Don't make fun of me. Jamie! Cove! Kids, where did you go? I can't do women's voices. Or any voice, to be exact. Maybe I'll give her Sayaka Maizono's from Danganronpa. Cove looked at you, tears still clinging to his cheeks. Don't tell him we're here. I don't want to go back to that house. I want to go home. You can handle it. We have to go. Don't worry so much. Sorry, I have to. It'll be okay. You were struck by a sudden need to reassure Cove. It's not going to be all fun, but isn't he your family too? Yeah, I guess. Then you can't count on then you can count on him when you really need him. You shot him a grin and pushed yourself to your feet. Slowly, Cove stood up with you, still looking a little. I still can't pronounce that, and I don't want to. Yeah, I don't want to guess. His dad's voice rang out again. Cove, can you hear me? He looked towards the sound of his dad's voice, silent, then turned away while rubbing his not bandaged arm. Sorry, I still don't want to go. You call yourself out. You waited silently with him. You tried to convince him. No, we're gonna try to convince him. Are you sure? You have to stay outside the whole night and sleep on the wet grass. Before Cove could say anything else, you heard his dad's voice again, even closer than before. There you are, bud! The trio of parents appeared over the curve of the hill. Insistently, all their eyes landed on you, and they rushed over. Both of your moms were at your side in a split second, faces filled with worry. Should I give the mom side Kamizuno's voice? Sure. Jamie! You're here after all! We had been at the park to check for Cove, and then heard what happened earlier when you met the new neighbor. I thought you might have gone off further away. No, we were just sitting in the grass. Why is everyone acting like this is such a big thing? We're okay, don't worry. Cove didn't want to go home just yet. Mummy gave Cove a small smile, and then she turned back to you. Thank God you're both fine. Were you two having fun out here? You looked over at Cove, who was wiggling against his dad's tight hug and pushing at his arms. You shrug. Yes, I like him. He's good. I think I'm going to marry him. That is not a... Okay, I mean, that is something a child would say. I was a witness to it. I didn't say it. I wasn't confessed, but I did witness something like that happen to me. Yes, I like... You nodded, smiling slightly. Finally letting go of his squirming, howling son, Cove's dad turned to the three of you. Thanks very much for finding him. I really don't know this neighborhood. Good thing Jamie knows this whole area so well. Absolutely. We should get going home now. It's been a long day for us all. Say goodbye, Cove. Bye. The two of them walked into the darkness, heading towards the neighborhood. You watched Cove's bright pink cast until it disappeared. Tell you what. Wait, sorry. Tell you what. We'll have a proper play date tomorrow, okay? Your new friend's dad wanted to bring him by to see you and Lizzie. How does that sound? Sure, I can show him my stuff. It sounds like words. You nodded, ducking your head down. It sounds like words. Nah, sure, I can show him my stuff. Of course. Then, okay. Both of your moms laughed, the sound overlapping into a warm, familiar chorus. Mommy put her arms around your shoulders and led you towards the path. Satisfied, and more than a little ready to go to bed after your long, exciting day, you followed them home. Choose your feelings for Cove. This is how you feel towards Cove for the step. It can change in later steps. Okay. I think we're fond of him, and our comfort is, nervous, relaxed, direct. I think we're relaxed. Yep. Love has a special requirement. Check the tutorial. I'm good, thank you. Okay. Yeah, cool. I'm ready. You won't be able to change it again until step 2. Yep, I'm okay. At the breakfast table the next morning, you finished your food faster than usual. Your sister Lizzie had to run out earlier to go play, but you stayed put. Today, just like your moms had promised, Cove was coming over to hang out. Excited to see your new friend again, Jamie. Yes. Yeah, I am. How sweet. I'm so happy he moved in. With that said, with that said, are you done with your breakfast? Yeah. Haha, I don't know. Am I? Your bowl was entirely empty, so you nodded. I don't know. Am I? You gestured down to the empty dish in front of you, raising your eyebrows dramatically. Okay, we see. Good job. He should be here soon. Clean up began, and then, on cue, there was a knock. It was hesitant, like the person wasn't sure if they were in the right place. Still loud enough, though. We need to get more oblivious doorbell. What? We need to get more obvious or oblivious? I think it's obvious doorbell. Oh my god, I'm stupid. It's fine. I know. Jamie, could you get it? Wiggling out of your chair without really pushing it back, you made your way to the door. Hey, math family, thanks for having us. Mr. Holden, as your moms have called him, and his son were here. Cove looked different in the bright lighting of your living room, and when he wasn't crying. With his dad standing in front of him, and Mom and Mommy behind you, you and Cove looked at each other. Pleased to see your new friend again, you smiled at Cove. He smiled back with some hesitation. You twisted the threaded bracelet on your wrist. You twisted the crystal bead bracelet on your wrist. You twisted the flower bead bracelet on your wrist. You twisted the shell. I like crystal. Let's go. Okay, wait, sorry, my bad. Let's go play in my room. Okay. Let us know if you need anything, you two. Have fun, kids. See you later, son. Play nice. I'm turning him to an anime protagonist, cause why not? You led him into your room, puffing out your chest a little bit at the sight of your treasures. There's lots of stuffed animals, a cool bed, a window to look out. It was a great room. You hadn't had anyone to show it to in a while, but you were really proud of it. He leaned in a little closer to one of your drawings on the wall. I like this. Me too! I drew that. What? Okay, my voice just glitched, it's fine. I drew that. Thank you. I don't. Real artist right here. Okay. I drew that. Cool. You smiled at him. You were proud of the particular piece of art, and you were glad he noticed it. You turned to look around the room a little more, studying the books on your desk and the pictures on the walls. You started to feel a bit nervous. You felt the atmosphere was kind of awkward. You were glad for the company. You hope he liked your room. The atmosphere is kind of awkward. You wanted to say something, but didn't know what to say, so you let him keep looking. Then his eyes landed on your tiny box of beach things you collected, tucked away by your door. He took a step towards it, before hesitating and pointing at it instead. What's that? A hoard of stuff I found on the beach. Do you have any driftwood in there? Dragging the box into the middle of the room, you and Ko flopped down next to it. I think so. Yeah, see? You gestured to the piece at the bottom, still covered with specks of sand. Neat. This is a good collection. You got the sense from the tone that his voice that he wasn't just saying it to be nice or to be like Shoal. He actually meant it. Oh right, I almost forgot. Shoal is going to be here today. Shoal? Lizzie's friend, or like her #1 fan, I guess. Do I have to see him? It should be okay. I mean, he's Lizzie's friend, not mine, but you know. Come on, check out my shell some more. I found this one under a big piece of seaweed that had washed ashore, and you pulled out seashell after seashell, explaining where you got in each one and holding them up against the light. There were big ones, small one, pink, purple, and orange. Most of them you washed off in the bathroom sink, where you brought them home, cleaning off the sand. Over the past few years, you'd even learned some of their scientific names. The collection was so huge and varied that you had lots of fun stories to tell for them. Your voice flattered a little bit, but you kept going as best flattered as best you could. Okay, I'm not saying that one because I don't know how to. No one know what we learned some scientific names. You had a whole picture book dedicated to different shells and sea life. You learned a lot by flipping through its pages. Apparently fascinated, either by the stories or by the shells himself, Cove listened with that look like full of force of his attention. It was a new experience to be the center of such a dedicated focus. But Cove hadn't been mean to you, so you didn't mind. You smiled at him every now and then while showing him your collection. Oh god. Kids, come down to the living room. You could tell the idea was making him unhappy, but Mummy wasn't giving you much of a chance to hang around. Cove hadn't been like this meeting you. You guessed it was because you found each other by accident, and a parent didn't make it happen. Mr. Holden must be right that telling Cove his dad was a part of what? Mr. Holden must be right that telling Cove his dad was a part of that would be a bad idea. Before you knew it, you'd both been escorted downstairs and deposited in the living room, ready for Shull's visit. The two of you sat side by side on the floor of your home's entryway. I brought the box of shells. I want to keep looking at them. Great. Okay, be careful. You should have asked. Great. Bust it open. We can keep looking while we wait for Shull. Cove reached in and pulled out a big orange shell. Oh. Like it hadn't spoken aloud yet, he turned to you and held it up, his eyes shining. I think this one's the best of them. That's my favorite too. I like different one best. I can show it to you. You can take it. Oh my god, should we give him? I'm gonna give him the shell. You can take it. Cove looked at you in a surprise, his eyes going wide. Really? Sure. You like it a lot, right? But I don't want to take it from you. It's okay. You got the impression he was hesitant to accept something because he didn't know you very well. You insisted. No, it's okay. It's for you. You pushed the shell against Cove's chest, willing him to receive the present, but Cove firmly shook his head and kept his arms tightly at his sides. It was a battle you couldn't win, at least not today. Cove was your neighbor now. Maybe you could give it to him another time. The two of you were still sitting on the floor looking through your collection of beach findings when the doorbell finally rang. Cove jumped, startled by the sound. Since the person hadn't knocked, he figured it was probably Shull. He knew where to look for that. Lizzie's friend? You nodded, but didn't seem to make Cove feel better. It was already obvious that Cove didn't hide his feelings well. You could tell what he was thinking right away. This isn't a good idea. You'll be alright. He's here. We can't tell him to leave. He's at our only door, and if you go upstairs, he'll find you. Cove glanced around the room, his eyes wide, and finally paused with his gaze locked upon the back of the house. I can go out the window. He was already walking towards it. Scrambling to think of something to say, you stepped forward, then paused. Do you want to break your other arm? Shull is the least scary person alive. Cheer up, Shull's gonna like you. Please don't get hurt. I'll come with you. Good idea, let's go. Okay, why not? Hurry, they'll see where we're going. I just gave him his dad's voice by accident. He glanced back at you, then nodded. The two of you made your way to the window together. It wasn't much of a distance to clamber out, but by the time you landed gently in the bushes, you looked up to see Cove was already taking off away from the house. He was fast, but you knew you could outrun him if you had to. He was not that fast. You knew you could outrun him if you had to. He was not that fast, but neither were you. At that speed, you weren't sure if you could go fast enough to reach him. Yeah, let's do that one. Cove, I'm coming! You ran as fast as your legs could take you, grass whipping around your ankle as you did so. Cautionally, Cove slowed to a halt and looked back at you. Where are you going? I don't know, somewhere else. I don't want to see. Jamie! He looked back and saw Chill huffing down the hill after you, the backpack he clutched bouncing all around along the way. What are you doing? Can I come? He must have seen you leaving out the window and followed behind. Oh, hi. Are you Cove? Yeah. I'm Chill. Okay. Yep. Are we going back, or are we gonna play outside? Chill's eyes moved between you and Cove. The smile remained strong on his face. It got a tiny frown from Cove in response. You were just grateful he hadn't asked why you had been running away. Inside, we left the box on the floor. Right. Oh, wait. Right. My shells and stuff. We have to make sure they're okay. Okay. Well, with shells trailing behind, you and Cove headed back towards the house. The plan for the afternoon, at least as far as you were concerned, was to sit and look at the beach things a little more. You weren't really in the mood to do much of anything else, especially if Cove was having fun. Hey, check out this scallop shell I found. Cool, right? It's a pretty color. Kinda like my cast. The beautiful glittering pink did look a lot like the wrap around his arm. Pink is a nice color. Okay. Is it your favorite? Not really. What is? Maybe green or blue. Oh, no. Maybe green or blue. It might be yellow. Oh, those are all cool. I guess. I like those colors too. They're better colors. Not sure how to deal with the sun. I like yellow. I can't. Awesome. Both of them smiled. Like usual, it didn't take long for Shoal to get fidgety. Lizzie was his favorite. Without her around, Shoal didn't seem to know what to do with himself. And Cove wasn't like your sister. He wasn't that much like you either. Is Lizzie coming back? Don't know. Aw. Where'd she go? I think she's at the beach, probably. Is she playing at her park? Cove's eyes lit up the motion of the park, and he looked towards you. There's a park? Yep, but it's old. Can you show me? I want to go. He started getting up before you even answered, and She'll jumped beside him in excitement. Really? You do too, right, Jamie? The park is fun. I love it. The park is pretty great. No, I love it. I love parks. Yeah, it's right at the beach, so there's a lot of fun stuff to do, and lots of sand. It has a jungle gym and a bunch of swings. That sounds like it could be cool. So, are we going to find Lizzie? I don't know. I never really wanted to see her. I just want to check the park out. Adrift without any direction, she'll finally turn to you. Okay. He perked up. Both boys wanted to go. It's only fair. After getting permission from your moms, the three of you were ready to head out. It was a short walk to the park. Lizzie had convinced your mom that it was so short that she should always be allowed to walk there by herself. When you found her, she was hanging on the jungle gym, swinging back and forth. Hey, Lizzie! Her face lit up when she saw you, her big brown eyes going wide. Okay, wait. Oh god, I need another voice. Jamie, Shoal. Hi! She dropped to the ground and landed with a soft thud in the sand. In a split second, Shoal had abandoned you two and scrambled over to the sand by her. And just like that, I will also be abandoning, because that is going to be the end of this episode. We will continue more later this week, hopefully, or, into next week. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.